Hello, everybody. Hello, masters of your own destiny. What's going on? Welcome back to my basement. It's a pleasure to have you back because, again, this is a podcast that we do with a lot of love, a lot of effort for people like you. Everybody who is out there, who is in love, like I am, with visual storytelling, this is the place for you. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the family. Thank you actually for tuning in. And I hope that you enjoy this new episode from Suarez Basement. We create bridges between you, the audience, and those experts in the communication, media, and the art field. And now we have a great new home that you can visit. I think the address is somewhere around there. Go and visit, not now, just watch the episode and then go and visit www.fsbasement.com. You can go there. We have the entire library in audio and video of our episodes, but also we have created really cool educational tools that you can use to keep yourself informed, educated, and entertained. So just go and visit. And of course, we're going to have today an amazing expert like we always do. I say to my students all the time that we are in the business of make-believe. And it's true. You know, you have a show, a TV show, you have a movie, and your goal doesn't matter if you're a producer, if you are an actor, if you're the director, is to make the person behind the screen believe that that universe, that character really exists. And if it's a key factor in this puzzle that is putting that make-believe together is what we call set decoration. And today we are very, very excited and very proud to have with us Kim Wannop, which is a set decorator, Emmy Award winner for her work in the HBO popular show VEEP. She has worked also in The Good Place, Bones, Park and Recreations. Her latest project is called Candy, and you can watch it now in Hulu. So it's a pleasure to have her here waiting for us to have this new episode of From Suarez Basement. And like I always do, I have a student, in this case, is a recently graduate from NYU, Jonathan Shakespeare, to be my co-host and to co-host this show with me. He's very much in love with Kim's work. He's also working in theater set design in New York City. So I couldn't ask for a better co-host to do this show. Thank you for being here. Thank you, WCNY in Central New York, for your partnership. And let's start this new awesome episode from Suarez Basement right away. Here we go. Kim, I want first to welcome you to my basement. I hope my set decoration is good. What do you think?
I like it. You've got family photos back there. You're telling a story.
You
got the brick wall. We're really in a basement. I like it.
I started this podcast in the basement of my house, of course, pandemic times. And I said, I need to do something creative. And I'm a professor. I was looking for a way to keep my students engaged in what they love to do. So I say, well, maybe I can do something with a podcast. And anyway, a year later, here I am enjoying this process. But really, thank you for taking the time to meeting with us.
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me. This is exactly who I want to talk to, students.
That's fantastic. And talking about students, I want to introduce, I have an awesome co-host today. Jonathan is with us. Jonathan, I'm going to give you the chance to introduce yourself to Kim and to get your first question.
It's very exciting to be, of course, talking with you because it's film and TV and just the sort of grandiosity of the production and set design for those projects is very, very astounding. So I guess my first question for you is how do you start a project? Is it with an idea, or do you do sketches, or is it just word vomit, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah. Funny enough, I just did a podcast on this, but I am also just starting up a show. I'm starting up the 4th season of For All Mankind, which I've never done space before, but it's really my goal in life is to do Star Wars, which I'm not that good. So I feel really lucky I got this.
Let me call George now.
Yeah, please give him a call. Let him know. And they're filming Star Wars in town. Everybody's working on Star Wars who knows all the sci-fi and stuff. So I can't even get a crew together because they're all absorbed over there. But here's the thing is that in decorating, I come in and the production designer and the set designers and the art directors usually have already started. They've already been on a couple weeks, and what we're doing is diving into hopefully a script that you have, or the concept of the first episode or the season, and you're trying to get ready to shoot what they're going to shoot that first week. So, and you're trying to, and for me to be on a show that's already passed, I got to watch all the episodes. I got to learn the history of these characters, because for set decorating, my job is to make sure that the character is in the room without a word being spoken. That's my job. So what I need to do is dive into these characters and see oh, that frame over there, like that helps. Like you have a zebra on your shelf there. So I'm assuming you either like zebras or you've been to Africa. Like there's something, or it's a kid's toy, it's meaningful. So I'm trying to give clues in the decor about characters. I'm also sourcing products. Luckily I have some time. We don't shoot till August. So I have some lead time to get chairs that I specifically want. I'm doing a lot of research. The show is based in the mid 2000s. So I gotta look back, even though it's really weird for me because that's when I started decorating. So I'm actually decorating period, but I lived through that. So it's super weird from kind of like, oh my gosh, I used those chairs on Bones and now they're period. Like I'm old. This is freaking me out. So it's a lot of research. That's basically the biggest thing that you're doing in prep for a show.
I have to say, I was going to ask you a question. Can you define what your work is in like a phrase or something? But you just did. When you say my job is to be sure that you see the character in the room, even if the character is not there. Yeah. It's such a powerful, incredible. It's fascinating, right? So, I hear actors in the podcast that say, well, if the room where I am doesn't feel my room means my character, I'm not in character. I cannot be in character. How intimate is that relationship between characters and set decoration, set design?
Well, here's what I've learned over the years. I used to think that, God, this is so stupid. This is so weird. I should be talking to the actors. They're playing this part. They should have input. They should, I want to talk to the actors. And then I got my wish, and then it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. Okay. So here's the thing. Unless I'm coming into a show where these characters have been established, my job is I'm respecting that. I'm respecting the previous decorators' choices and enhancing them. That's my job. But if I'm starting out, the truth is I've been with this character weeks or maybe a month or so longer than that actor has. And so as an advantage in the art department and in costumes, and we have the advantage of deep diving into these characters to make them real longer than the actor does. I mean, sometimes casting doesn't happen until a day or so before. It's that crazy sometimes. So we really do our best to figure out the characters with what we have. Whether, sometimes you don't get a full description of a character. And it in my sense, like looking back at episodes and what did they really shoot? What are we really seeing about this person? So I would say I have the advantage of having more time with characters than actors do usually. Mm-hmm. But they are the actor, and we're a lot of time we're going to see them a lot of the time. You know what I mean? So I get that too. But I have learned not to ask actors about set decor.
Is it so? Just really quick, is it usually the same production designer for like every episode, or do you have to become reacquainted like multiple?
It's the same production designer. It's basically the same creatives. So it's the same costumes, it's the same props, it's the same special effects, it's the same decorator. It's for TV, and usually like now it's like 1 hours. We shoot in blocks. So episode 1 and 2 will shoot together, and you have the same director for both. And then 3 and 4 is a different director. And sometimes there's what's called a producing director who is a producer on the show who gets to direct an episode, but then is there guiding all of the other directors so that the tone of the show stays the same, because you don't want a director coming in and like, what's this angle? Like, that's throwing off our world here. Why would you have the actor do that? Like, that's not part of their character. So they usually have guidance through a producing director in television. So it's different directors, same crew. It's all the same crew. So that there, yeah.
Cool. It's funny that you mentioned like a period piece before, because I mean, I don't really know if I would consider it a period piece, but many people, I guess, saying my generation feels weird, but people of my generation grew up watching like shows like The Good Place and like, all these, like,
that's recent.
like pretty recent. Yeah. Just
period is 25 years. We define period as 25 years earlier.
25
which
years
was yesterday.
So technically the late 90s is considered a period piece now, which is terrifying.
Like they say, don't call it old, call it vintage.
Oh yeah. It's good vintage.
It's vintage. Jonathan mentioned The Good Place, and I do want to talk a little bit about The Good Place because it's such a, I love it. I watched the whole thing, and I just found it a very easy, funny, but also very clever show. I'm sure you have a lot of good stories to tell because it's such a fun project. I mean, you literally are creating this fictional place, but then you also have the real place. So how was that project and how fun it was?
It's I didn't do the first season, so I took over the show, but at that point they found things out. I don't want to spoil. And then it became a different show kind of. And then, they had a whole nother season where it was just Earth. And then they had another season where it was, where are we? So it was fantastic. It was fantastic in a sense that I got to work with a lot of the same people and producers from Parks and Rec. And so, and I've worked with them a lot in the last 15 years, and it's great to work with such nice people and such good people. They're just, Mike Schur is just the best. Like I can't even describe it. So then to work with Mike Schur on something so magical, and there was a lot of, especially in props, the prop master Gabe Perillo, in meetings, there was a lot of like, well, what is that bracelet? And, she has to come up, they write like, oh, it's like this bracelet. A lot of times they would write things, but not exactly know what they're writing until they see it. So the prop master had a lot of pressure in a good way, very creative, to be able to come up with things and ideas to present to them. And as soon as they would see it, they go, that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's nailed it. Yeah, we want it. Or that's it. But can it do this? So the fun of it really was having a lot of freedom, and in the design having a lot of freedom. Like when Eleanor and I'm forgetting his name, when they move in together, and I did that set, like combining their
Chidi
and combining their looks, but yet they stayed in that house. Like that was a whole thing. She finally got comfortable with that house enough that they would live there together, there, and like, okay, what kind of sheets would she really have now, and making it fun and making it, these little kind of decorating decisions.
I feel like the show could not have come alive without the sort of grandiosity of that set. So I guess it's just
That's important too, that when they're writing that they're able to do it. Like we shot it on the Universal backlot, and now you can tour it, which is fun. But if you don't have that, if they don't have that in their budget, or they don't have that, well, where are we going to shoot? Where is the good place? Like, luckily they could shoot at Universal and make part of the backlot. And the designer Dan Bishop, the first season, did a phenomenal job. And to be honest, they did that whole village, and the producers walked through and they were like, it's too bright. It's too bright. Because, and I think I'm allowed to say this, they never told anyone about the first season ending until the last episode. So the design, no one knew why, we can't use these colors, like, it can't be too bright. Why can't it be that happy? They're in the good place. There was a rule, we could not use the like a red, like a real red. So that's big, but they never told anyone till the very end. And I know that, I mean, he knew that was his ending, Mike Schur, but they never, he might have told one of the producers, but he didn't tell anybody creatively that was the ending. So they walked through that whole village, and it was too bright, and they had to repaint a lot of the buildings to get it right. And now you know why. Now the viewer knows why.
We are living in the times of recycle and the idea that you take things and you use them more than once. In that universe of set decoration, how that work? Do we have a warehouse where you can say, well, we use a white sofa in, I don't know, this and this TV show. Can we bring that back? Or every time you have a new show, basically it's a new budget, you go and get everything that you need. How that recycle of material work?
Well, there's prop houses that we can rent. We just rent fixtures and smalls. You can rent a spoon. You can rent anything out of prop houses. The big ones are Warner Brothers and Universal, have these gigantic, like 3-story places to rent things. And but as far as the rental versus purchases, that becomes a game you got to play, because is it cheaper for me to buy that sofa for $1,200 or rent it 3 times? I might as well buy it. So then you accumulate all of this stuff, and I'm not even joking. At the end of VEEP, we had a football field, like twice, because it was doubled up, this just full of set dressing. And so what will happen is other prop houses will come in, and if they want to buy things, there's like a sale, but the majority of it they take to an auction house, and then they'll liquidate it. That's what happens with bigger shows who've had a couple seasons, who have a long period. Other times, like say a show only gets 1 season and they had purchases and they got canceled, then it's like, oh, this Fox show went down. Do any of these Fox shows want to go over and pillage through their stuff? So as decorators, I think we do try a lot. We also at the end of Impeachment, because Fox doesn't have a prop house and they didn't want to liquidate, we had Salvation Army and Habitat for Humanity come in and take everything, which is fantastic. That's the goal. You really just want to donate it because it's really good stuff. It's barely been used. And, you want people to just I don't want to see that chair that's beautiful just sit in some warehouse and then nothing ever happens. Someone should appreciate that. So I think as decorators, we talk all the time about responsibility of recycling furniture and making sure that, hopefully it gets donated. But yeah,
have you ever experienced like something of like a set that you've helped to create, like be put in like a museum or like an archive of sorts?
On Parks, I forget what they took. They took a lot out of Parks. They took like one of the doors. I think they took Leslie's desk and the dressing of her desk. They take it to like Universal Archives. Smithsonian. Then on VEEP, they actually set up a hotel room in DC for a year after the show ran, and we sent set dressing for that, and we got to pick pick it for them to put into a hotel. You could have like the VEEP experience in a hotel room. I don't know what happened to the stuff after that, but yeah, and then at the end of Good Place, I know that they took some pieces too, but I don't remember. But Universal has their own, or like Warner Brothers will have their own archive. Like they didn't let people throw away the Friends sofa, or when they think that they can maybe put it on a tour eventually or something, they're gonna take it.
It's
So
like
yeah.
the Game of Thrones memorabilia, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they bring it now to every single city, and you pay for it, and you go and see the actual,
Yeah.
set or the throne or things like that.
The Warner Brothers and Universal have really good studio tours, and so they use a lot of set dressing in that because that's what you're looking at the set. So
Right,
it's a compliment.
right.
I know that you mentioned that space was like a really cool like idea for like set that you've always wanted to do, and now like you're doing like a space set. So I guess, do you have like an idea of like a dream set design project that you would love to work on that you haven't yet really like done? Like, has it not come up yet? Or
I mean, if they remake Gone with the Wind, I'm in. If they I think it really is Star Wars for me. I think that
uh,
Star Wars had just a huge impact on just how amazing cinema could be, and letting your imagination go. I'm talking about like 3, 4, and 5. Like
I was gonna ask what your favorite one is.
um I mean the other ones too, and in the advancement of CGI and everything that they did with that, you know, they're still good films for that. But for me, I think I would never actually want to do a remake because your work would always be put against the original. So I wouldn't want to do that. Um, I'd have to say Star Wars. That would be like
Or
the dream project. So,
It
you
is.
know,
It is. It's such an icon. I mean, it is Star Wars. It's nothing
um,
out there. I remember clearly, and that's going to show a little bit my age, but who cares? But going to the cinema with my uncle and my cousins to see the first Star Wars, 1978, around there. I don't remember.
79. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was blown away
Yeah.
by everything, by the special effect, by the story, by the props, by the costumes, by it was something surreal,
Yeah.
and that's why it's such a mark as a
Yeah.
movie, right? So I have a question actually, because we always talk about when you talk about set decoration and set design, and we never talk about the business aspect of things, right? We A lot of people who are listening or watching the video will say, "Oh, that's a fun job," in the sense that you go and buy things and you put it in a set. Tell me a little bit about the backstage business of this. How do you need part of your responsibilities to put a budget? Who approved that budget? What is the business aspect of set decoration?
There's a lot. I mean, I would say only 10% of my job is actually getting to decorate a set at this point. And I think the job has evolved a lot, as a lot of the creatives have in the last 15 years, just because of the demand of quality that needs to be on screen. It's not that even when you watch like a multicam show, they'll do other scenes in another, you know what I mean? Like it's not just a bottle show anymore.
Hmm.
It's a huge thing. So a lot of my job is budgeting and scouting and meetings, and then back to scouting. And so it is a lot, and coming up with budgets is a whole game to play, because you basically play the game of, this is what's written, this is how big the set is, and this is what it's going to cost. And then they say it's going to cost $10, and they say, well, we only have $8. And then you go, okay, well, I didn't write it, and it's probably going to cost $10. So what, at this point in my career, I go, what wall don't you want to see? What do you want not decorated? Because these are the elements that's making me tell you it's going to cost $10. And so they still come back and say 8. And then you play the game of spending 9 and then hiding that other dollar somewhere else so you could get the set that you want. But something suffers a little bit here and there, but you still try to make it work.
Listen, I don't have words, really, literally, because I grew up maybe same like you and same than Jonathan, fascinated about, again, the make-believe of visual storytelling. And your work is so fantastic. And what you do for these shows is allow us to really go into those universe and those environments that you create. So I thank you for what you do, but also for taking the time to meeting with us today. I could be here the entire day talking to you about things and props and stories, but our time is limited. But here is the thing, before we go, students are listening out there. I work with students, and one of the things that I am very much emphasize to the students is the idea of how you deal with rejection in an industry that is really, really tough in that sense. But I think it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, doctor, rejection is always there, especially in the process of getting there. For your last, thoughts and message to the students that are listening and using rejection as a concept, what would be that last message that you want to give to the students out there that are listening to us?
I would have to say you're going to get fired. It doesn't matter. I mean, I got fired from a show I was on for 6 years, and they just fired me. And I never got an explanation why. And you sit up and you cry on the bathroom floor and you wonder about life decisions. But then it turned into, I got Parks and Rec. And then I turned into working with these producers who I adore, who I think like me because they keep hiring me. And then I worked on VEEP. And then I won an Emmy. And now I'm on a space thing. So everything that you do will lead to where you need to be. And so the rejection is, everyone gets rejected. You don't get every job. You try. It's not as bad as being an actor, I think, where they're like judging you. They're sometimes it's that, projects aren't going to work out and I can't start till this date. Well, I need you to start now. Well, I can't do that. I can't leave the project I'm on. There is a lot of loyalty, I would say, in our business. You do find people who work with the same producers or the same designer over and over again because you know that you can trust these people. You know that they're loyal to you. They're not going to leave you. So that is also a good thing to know in this business.
Well, I want to thank you, Kim, for your time, your kindness, your work. This has been an amazing conversation. I want to thank my co-host, Jonathan.
Yes,
you did such a fantastic job.
Thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. And all the luck in the world now in your new life after graduation. I'm sure you're going to be doing fantastic. And I want to thank the viewers and, of course, also the listeners for being with us. This podcast is all about you guys, right? To keep you informed, educated, and hopefully also entertained. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And good luck. Good luck paying $7 for gas.